Hi, in this video, we will be talking about the most important concept that I learned from this book, Effective Executive. It's around contributions. A leader is effective if he can deliver value, and his value delivery is equal to his contributions. So, how, understanding a good framework that allows us to measure contributions of a manager, his team, is very important. So, this video is all about that. So, as an effective leader, you could be doing one of these three things. You could be responsible for delivering direct impact that the business cares about. So, it's really important to understand as a leader what role are you playing? Maybe you're playing all three of these roles. Maybe you're playing one of these three roles. But, like, if you're responsible for direct results that impact the business, then you better know that as to which metrics are important, what are the results that are expected, and how is it that your work is impacting the business. So, understanding key metrics and understanding those things that are important to the business could be your one of the big responsibilities. The second work area that you could be doing is you could be responsible for generating or developing the next generation of leaders. Your focus could be to develop those leaders. Remember, if you're thinking long term in an organization, there's going to be constant change. For you to survive, you'll have to constantly redo your current work, constantly reimagine, change metrics, change goals, because change is constant. So that with that, you would have to develop new leaders who could take up responsibilities for a new tomorrow. So you could be focusing most of your time building the next generation of leaders. Or you could be focusing a lot of your time living the company values, or which is basically saying keeping the company together. You could be responsible for keeping the morale high. You could be responsible for keeping the team together. You could be responsible for building events or doing work, living the values, providing framework so that people can make effective decisions, so that long-term decisions are made correctly. So these are three broad categories. So as a leader, it's very, very important. What are you focusing on? And that your leadership team also knows and acknowledges that your contributions that you understand are what is expected out of you. So that's the biggest thing a leader can do, is to quickly identify which areas are the right areas for him to be um, responsible for and focusing most of their personal time in, that they are accountable for. And the leader can do that by asking this question: is the leader contributing to the best extent possible to the mission and the purpose of the team or the company? And if not, why not? So this is the basis. If the leader understands what is their main contribution, then he can focus on his team next. So that's the second aspect. Only when the leader knows clearly what his or her contributions are that he or she can ask these questions to his team members. The three questions that you can ask your team members will help you effectively articulate what contributions you expect out of your team members are. You can ask your team member directly, do they understand what contributions the company should expect out of them? What is the best utilization of their current knowledge and their ability? And finally, what should I as a manager expect out of you? See, the basis of all of this is contributions. If there is clear understanding of the leader as to what his contributions are, then he can propagate that down to his team members and ensure that there is clarity, there's no ambiguity on what contributions are expected. And then the leader is making the right decisions, hiring the right set of people that can help him or her with those contributions. So asking these questions will help you realize that a lot of team members don't really think about these things as to what are the contributions. A lot of leaders don't know what the contributions are for themselves. So stepping back, asking these questions with your team members will help set better goals for each of your team members, and you can build out of the contributions. And you will realize that if there are certain skills that the person needs to learn, because they don't have those skills, you will go train them. And you can also easily now hold them accountable because you've had these conversations of their contributions. And so they'll be automatically motivated because they agree on those contributions. And if not, there is a misalignment between what you want to deliver as a team or a company and what the employee wants. But at least you know. So this foundation of asking questions around contributions is the key for the leader and is the key for the employee. And it'll automatically enforce that right things are being worked on, right communications are happening, and all of the knowledge workers in your team member, remember, this framework is only useful for knowledge workers because they're self-driven. They'll automatically be self-driven. So that's about the team members. And the final thing is, as a manager, as a leader, you would be working on a day-to-day basis with your team. So building effective human relationships with your team members is a must. And the biggest thing that you would want to do to help better contributions is to run effective meetings. Ensure that every meeting that you set up has a clear agenda, that every meeting that you get invited has a clear purpose and a goal, that the meeting starts and ends with a purpose, and that it's focused on that agenda is the most important area, because then you're saving your time. You're working on your contributions. Remember, you're either meeting or working. You cannot do both. So when you're meeting, ensure that the time is used well so that you can save most of your time for your contributions. And remember, like when you run these meetings, there are one of these three things that are happening. Either you're having a meeting to arrive at a decision, or the meeting is to make sure everyone knows about the latest information, or the meeting is to clarify doubts. Ensure proper agenda will help you focus on contributions. The second big area for you as a leader to build an effective human relation is to communicate effectively, sideways, upwards, written, verbal. Ensure that you can communicate what you want to communicate to the right people at the right time quickly. So use the right mechanisms based on what you have found out so far as to what the team members' preferences are. And in the process of contributions, you will find out that certain team members need self-development. They will themselves identify. If not, as a leader, it's your responsibility to identify those areas of development so that they could actually contribute. And finally, as a leader, it's your most important responsibility to set a really high bar. Lead by example. Once you define what greatness is or what effectiveness is, everyone would follow. Like if someone breaks a new running record, very soon within a year, everyone breaks the previous year's running record. The leaders set the tone. So it's very important that as leaders that you're focused around contributions and you're setting a very high bar and leading by example. So I hope this was useful. This framework around contributions and using that as a foundation for your own effectiveness and also the effectiveness of your team. Hopefully that helps in making clear what are you in it for. If you found this useful, put a comment below, or if you have questions for me, ask me in the comments below or reach out to me. Thanks.